Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Crystal?
Indeed we do. Many things unfolding in the world. So we have Linda Yaccarino out at Twitter amid many things going on with Elon. So we'll get into that.
Yes.
Also, we got a clip from you on
Yes.
with Tucker talking about the America Party. So we'll get into
I'll let some thoughts go.
all of that stuff. Grok is doing Grok things, etc. We also have some significant moves with regard to the tariffs. Trump levying a 50% tariff on Brazil because he does not like their trials of Jair Bolsonaro. Other wild moves going on there as well. Additional tariffs put on a bunch of different countries. We have Hakeem Jeffries panicking over Zoran's victory and what it could mean for him and his political future. Jon Stewart with a good take on that. We've also got the I've Had It ladies who have had it with AIPAC, putting them on blast. Pretty interesting watching these sort of like normie liberal wine moms get radicalized on Israel. So
it's a good thing.
I'm enjoying that very much. Speaking of Israel, we have Netanyahu in town and sat down with the Nelk boys. We don't yet have clips from that, but that is
what are they doing? Steiny, all you other guys. What are we doing? You guys want to play in the news game? You released that shit immediately, but whatever.
Oh, that's what you're, that's the what's.
I mean, that's one of my gripes. I'm like, you're gonna sit with a guy. You gotta go to release it. It's gonna be dated at this point. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You're playing around with Zyn or whatever, you know, making him, what's that stupid drink they have? Happy something?
I have no idea. Casual sit down with an indicted war criminal, so that's cool. Then we also have an interesting story with regard to Amazon and online sales, potential indication of some underlying trouble in the economy. Prime Day sales were down 41% on the first day. Now, there may be some other things going on. They've apparently extended the Prime period this time, so it's not exactly apples to apples, but there's some other indications that online shopping has dropped as well. So we're going to take a look at that too.
That's right. And thank you very much. There have been a lot of people who've been joining the show recently between the Iran war, Tucker Carlson, all these other things that are happening. So just trying to take a minute to remind everybody, if you can help us out, we have a membership program. It's monthly and or yearly. You can go to breakingpoints.com and you can sign up to support us. So it keeps us ad-free and making sure that Ryan and I are not reading Hims ads or I guess Amazon ads now that they're going to be needing some help. So we deeply appreciate it. And of course, as part of that, you actually get the show 1 hour early before it drops, an unlisted link on YouTube, or you can watch it on Locals, or you can watch it on Spotify. We do know, premium subscribers, that there had been some issues with ads on that unlisted YouTube link that we've been sending out, and we believe that we have resolved that. Thank you very much to YouTube. But actually, it's really a testament to the power of all of you, because we use our membership program and others to tell them and be like, hey, you guys need to fix this and cut it out. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to do it. So thank you very much. It enables all the work that we are able to do here. If you can help us out, breakingpoints.com. But with that, let's get to Elon Musk and the resignation of Linda Yaccarino, the 2-year-long CEO, previously worked at NBC News, known as the ad guru, is now stepping down. Let's go ahead and put it up there on the screen. What have we got from Linda? After 2 years, I have decided to step down as the CEO of X. When Elon and I first spoke on his vision, I knew it would be the opportunity of a lifetime to carry out this extraordinary mission. I'm immensely grateful for him for entrusting me with the responsibility of protecting free speech, turning the company around and transforming it into the everything app. Incredibly proud of the team. The historic business turnaround we've accomplished together has been nothing short of remarkable. And let's go to the next one. Very terse response there from Elon Musk that just simply says, thank you for your contributions. So perhaps it was an icy exit. Of course, we would be remiss if we didn't say it literally came the very day after the meltdown that happened with Grok and the removal of some of their woke filters, which led to full-on Nazism in the span of, 4 days, I believe is how long it took to devolve into that. But it is a sign also of where things may be going. You know, Crystal, business-wise for Twitter. And look, I mean, why does any of this stuff matter? First of all, this is the elite conversation platform. That's just kind of how it goes, especially for the news business. A lot was made of it for the Trump election, of course. Now we have Elon and the Trump break in their relationship. He says he's going to start America Party. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But more broadly, it actually is still a technology story, because you'll remember that X currently the way that they're juicing their valuation is by this merger with xAI. And actually Grok 4, which is their latest LLM model, is supposed to debut, it's either today or tomorrow, very soon. That's really the future that Elon is betting any potential valuation and any modest possibility of him getting any money out of the company ever again. So that's part of the reason why the Grok meltdown just days before the new release and the resignation of the CEO kind of tells us the direction which Elon is trying to take his company in that way. It's actually an interesting business story as well, because it's kind of the bet that he's making across both of his businesses, Tesla as well. Tesla's sales right now are a disaster, largely because of Elon, but also because they're not really releasing a lot of new models. Yeah. Elon is betting the house on on self-driving robo-taxis. That's actually all the future value expected of the company. So if you look at those two things, he's basically making a bet to try and transform these industries. But Twitter, I mean, has always kind of been a business disaster. I do want people to understand that. Part of the reason the board of directors was so eager to sell to Elon is, I mean, the company just did not make that much money compared to Facebook and or Google. It punched above its weight in terms of the discourse, but obviously that didn't mean a lot. So there's actually a lot going on here. It's very interesting.
Well, and let's think about the things that Linda Yaccarino did put up with and was willing. So, you know, I know the timing with Grok going full Nazi, MechaH Hitler, as he was calling himself, and apparently, we'll show you this later, apparently was like actively sexually harassing Linda Yaccarino, in addition to the Will Stancil rape fantasies that you read out helpfully for us on Air Sagar.
Well, I didn't read it all.
You stopped at a critical point.
Yeah, I mean, it's music.
So, I mean, you look at that and you're like, okay, well, maybe this was the final straw. Maybe it was. I have no particular insight into the inside of Twitter, but you would think if the like Twitter devolvement into like outright Nazism was a problem for her, then she might have left earlier, because certainly there is just so much overt Nazism on the timeline these days that Grok just sort of fit in at this point. So there's that. In addition, you recall when I think this was like in the early days after she was made CEO of Twitter, Elon went and did that interview with Andrew Ross Sorkin, where he told advertisers to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, that's right.
And she had been explicitly brought in to, like, you know, she had all these relationships and she was going to be the serious face and she was going to get the business online and whatever. And that was apparently not an issue for her. So to me, I think the Occam's razor of what's going on here is, you know, she came in really at the beginning of the Elon-Trump relationship and probably saw that as being something that would be beneficial to her. Hey, being close to, you know, the President of the United States, that seems like something that will benefit someone who is obviously a very ambitious, career-oriented person. Now that relationship has crumbled, and Elon is going out to do his, like, you know, whatever the America Party is going to be and get his 4% of the vote or whatever, she's no longer feeling like this is a particularly beneficial place for her to be, and no longer worth putting up with, you know, the AI bot inside of Twitter sexually harassing her and things of that nature.
It's definitely possible, and it just goes to show you, I mean, this is part of the reason why Jack, I mean, if you talk, when we had him on the show a couple years back, and, you know, he just always would talk about this content moderation nightmare, and this is part of the reason nobody ever wanted to buy Twitter. At one point in 2017, I want to say, Disney was like this close to buying Twitter, Bob Iger, and they were like, oh, well, we can use it for, they were like, we can roll it into the Disney empire.
Oh my God.
And I know, actually, I'm not really sure which would be worse, but my point is just that at the end of the day, Iger pulled the plug on the deal, because he's like, you know, this content moderation stuff is just going to become a nightmare, because he watched how Jack had to deal with it. He watched how Zuckerberg was getting called in front of, and he's like, I'd rather just kind of do what we do here with, you know, juicing the miniseries episode 9 on Star Wars or something like that. And we'll just keep going down that direction. And this is part of the issue. And then Twitter has caused an immense amount of problems for Elon's business. I mean, Elon himself is also causing that. But just think about the massive value hits to Tesla. I mean, you've got active investors and the board of directors reportedly not very happy with Elon, even the ones that he has stacked. I mean, you have to look at the stock price. And, you know, it doesn't take a genius to figure out how much his political activities are linked to all of these other intersections. Now you also have Twitter, where previously, you know, you could really rely on him being like this MAGA, like demigod, effectively. I mean, now Donald Trump is directly in opposition to Elon. And so that's an open question of like where things are going to go. You'll remember that Steve Bannon initially was very critical of Elon Musk. He dialed that criticism back after Trump told him to do so. But now he is totally weapons free. Here is Steve Bannon reacting to Linda Yaccarino's resignation on War Room yesterday. Let's take a listen.
Hey, Linda, you can run, baby, but you can't hide. You're not going to hide from the lawsuits, girl. We know why you're stepping down and why you're running. Elmo's out of control. Sorry, baby. That came with the job. You took the job. You took the pay. You took the warrants. You took the stock options. You took all, the hundreds of millions of dollars you're going to make. No. If you can't keep Elmo in the nursery and keep him under control, you're going to pay a price. You are going to pay a price. It doesn't matter that you're resigning today, baby. The whole complete scam of Elmo is going to be taken apart brick by brick. All of it. You will be stunned at what you will find out.
So, he's basically threatening Elon's business there. Of course, Trump did as well. All of this also kind of fits with this America Party thing, which I have a lot of thoughts on. It's a preposterous project. But, it fits with Elon's, schizophrenic political development now at this point. Nobody's really sure what the break was. I guess a lot of it stems from, personal grievances and him not getting his NASA head. By the way, we have an interim NASA head as of today. Is Sean Duffy, the Department of Transportation.
Great.
Very qualified for the job, of course. Yeah. Former reality TV star. Look, whatever, former congressman. Maybe Elon was right in terms of putting this guy into NASA, even if it was going to be beneficial to SpaceX. But beyond that, as we look at the company again itself and where he wants to take whatever his political project is, he's openly in his searching mode. And so for that, he of course consults Curtis Yarvin. We've talked about Curtis here on the show. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen from the New York Times. Teddy Schleifer, actually very good piece because it's not just about Curtis Yarvin, it's really more about Elon's seriousness. He says here that Elon, quote, is studying up on how to start a political third party. Among the people for whom he has sought advice is Curtis Yarvin. Yarvin, as we've talked about here, one of the most influential people, so-called, on the tech right, expressed distaste, as they put it here, for traditional American democracy. But one of the interesting things that they have described kind of here is not only him as consultant of Curtis, but actually, and this is kind of what I talked about with Tucker Carlson, is his reaching out to the consultant class and some of the other people about trying to form this part of how he's done his FEC launch and others. And Elon is literally the meme to me of the fiscally conservative, socially liberal
he has become
oligarch. No labels. This is no labels. That's who he is, at this point. And, he seems to believe, because he's even said this, he has this inflated view of his own popularity where he's Trump used me because of my popularity. I'm well, take a look at Trump is more popular than you are right now, at the very least in terms of his political project. But it is just, it's hilarious in many ways, but it also shows that he's kind of spreading out and talking to anybody who really will take him even remotely seriously.
Yeah.
One of the people is apparently Andrew Yang. Andrew, we love you, man. Stay away, all right? Yeah, we love you too much not to tell you to stay the hell away from this guy. So,
yeah, well, and apparently after this meeting, you put A4 up on the screen, apparently unfollowed Curtis Yarvin, so apparently the meeting didn't go that well. We're just both speculating that Yarvin probably was this is really not a great idea. Yeah. And Elon, this is the fragile ego of the billionaire, let alone the richest man on the planet, and the wild ways in which these people operate. Any normal person launching some sort of massive undertaking, starting a brand new party, you might talk to these folks beforehand. Yes. You might reach out to a consultant and a pollster. You might have some idea about what ballot access looks. No, we're just gonna announce it, and then we're gonna go and figure out what the fuck we're doing. Yeah. And very likely totally crash into the rocks, have your CEO quit. It's just, and this is not just how he operates. I was telling Emily, I watched the Titan Submersible Netflix doc all about Stockton Rush.
Yeah, great doc.
And the personality traits to me are so similar, except Elon has at least the sense to not send himself into his rocket ships that blow up, right? But it's the same thing. It's the rules don't apply to me. it's this disconnect from reality where you think that just like the laws of physics and the universe don't even apply to you. You can just do things however you want. You surround yourself with yes men and women. So anyone who tells you, like Curtis Yarvin apparently did, something you don't want to hear, that's it. You unfollow them, you push them out of your life. And because you're a multi-billionaire, you know, you are surrounded by, there are plenty of people who want to be that sycophant and to exist in your circle and tell you whatever it is that you want to hear. I mean, this is why I think billionaires should not exist. I think they are inconsistent with democracy. I think we have had like a huge lesson in that, if there were ever any doubt before, because these people are not like us. The way they operate in the world, their complete disconnect from reality, it is not like us, and they do not have the same interests remotely. So, you know, the launch of this, haphazard launch of this America Party is just another example of that. And, you know, I think it's going to be a mess. Obviously, I don't think it's going to like supplant the Republican Party or whatever, but that doesn't mean that it can't also be impactful in a couple of Senate races or a couple of House races here and there, where maybe you're pulling a few percentage points and that's enough to shift. I mean, it could serve as a spoiler in a few races, and that could be significant given how tight the margins are in both the House and the Senate.
It's possible if it even gets to that point.
We should also, a big if, yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge if. Let's put A6, please, up on the screen. This is from Cara Swisser, who is controversial figure, I guess, in the tech community, but you know, she has a lot of relationships. So anyway, here's what she says.
I think this is the first time we've put a thread.
Yeah,
up
that's
on
right.
The
this is the first time
this is historic.
Up here. The MechaH Hitler controversy was not it, by the way. I guess she sided with Trump over Musk. Also, without the Trump card, it was likely going to be hard to shake down advertisers with the threat of lawsuits.
True.
And finally, Threads is close to being as big as X, along with competitors like Blue Sky. I'm not so sure about that latter one there, Cara. And you know, I should say it could be possible because you and I, we use Twitter very differently, probably than the vast majority. News gathering and it's political conversation. And that is, you know, a big punch above the weight of where Twitter has. But there's a lot of other people who use Twitter for sports, you know, pop culture, memes, whatever. You know, apparently people who really like to watch reality TV like to go on Twitter and like, you know, live tweet and talk about stuff like that. So I could see how maybe it could be supplanted in that way. But as of right now in politics, like it doesn't exist. To the extent that there is a so-called competitor, it is Blue Sky. Even that I'm pretty skeptical of. Seems a bit more of like an echo chamber than anything. Maybe it's important intra-left, but that's not the same thing as being like, you know, broadly able to reach everybody. Anyway, put all this stuff together. That's where Elon is with a step down of the business. This is a big technology development. It is one which tells us a little bit about both him, where his so-called movement or whatever, and all of that is going, and we should keep an eye on it because he played a huge role in the election. You can't deny that. He spent $200 million, and if he does use Twitter, you know, I actually am curious for your take on the whole Grok thing because, you know, outside of, you know, the whole filter manipulation thing, I mean, that is a pretty naked view into how easy it is for them to put their, you know, thumb on the scale. And you can put it in whatever direction you want. It's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
Because it's like you just remove this filter or whatever, you change the algorithm, and then immediately, I mean, I'm sure you see this, there are a lot of people who, you should not do this, but who use Grok or any other LLMs as just like a verifier. They'll be like, hey, is this true? Something like that. And it will go and it'll be like, oh, okay, thank you. But they don't really go and check this stuff for themselves. And it's like, well, if it's that easy to get it to turn itself into MechaH Hitler after 4 days, I mean, you can just imagine like what sort of like information crisis that would lead to. Now, I'm not saying, you know, I'm not calling for laws or whatever about misinformation. I'm just showing people here, like, this is a very naked example of how easy it is to go down this path. If you do own this massive social media platform, which is highly impactful, at the very least, for elites, and especially intra-right-wing discourse, you could, at the very least, have some impact, right? If it tells, what if it doesn't tell you where your polling place is when you ask it, you know? I mean, what if that's one of the only places that people go to? I can come up with a variety of examples. You know, they did a study on Facebook years ago that if they wanted to, they could increase vote share by like 1 or 2%, which is literally Trump's margin of victory in the popular vote. So there you go.
The American people are very uncomfortable with the development of AI.
And it's
another area that there is a profound disconnect between the elites of both parties, but especially with the Trump administration at this point with regard to, hey, let's just make it the wild, wild west and let's race to AGI and we got to beat China and no holds barred. Very large disconnect. It's something like, I had the polling, it's like 70+% of Americans, and quite bipartisan, who are like, we need some more regulation here. Like, we're concerned about where this is going, and who could blame them? Because
they should.
You know, you've got the labor, the work concerns. You've got the we're just like shutting off parts of our brain now concerns. You know, in the same way we outsourced our navigational skills to GPS, now we're outsourcing like our entire thinking
and research.
To this technology. What is that going to mean for humanity? And then you have the more terrifying dystopian scenarios, which is like they changed a couple prompts in, you know, for Grok's instructions, and suddenly Grok is like, we should gas all the Jews.
Right.
I mean, that's what happened. And they're connecting this shit to killer robots, you know, via Palantir and these other defense tech companies. Yeah, I think we need to think about what the hell we're doing here, because it is terrifying. I mean, on the one hand, of course, it's like, it's a funny and ridiculous development that they tried to make an a non-woke AI and it instantly turns into MechaH Hitler. But it's also deadly serious when you're talking about technology that the people who are developing it, they want it to be so transformative that all of human labor will become unneeded. That this is the technology that is so transformative that people like Peter Thiel, who believe in transhumanism, want us to merge with this stuff and for the human race to effectively be no longer or be evolved into some new like hybrid human and tech conglomerate. So yeah, I think it's,
I totally agree.
I find it very concerning.
I totally agree. I was actually, so, I mean, I wish I hadn't been out for the whole Build Back Better thing, or not Build Back Better.
I keep calling it
big,
that
beautiful
too.
Bill. Yeah, if you've been around long enough, you remember different BBBs here in Washington. But yeah, that was actually a good controversy over that 10-year ban on AI. I mean, I can't believe they tried to slip that in there.
I know.
It's unbelievable, but it does show all of this. So just keep it in mind when you're using ChatGPT, any of these LLMs, do not outsource your thinking, because you can just see how easy it is for them to manipulate you. There's already all those stories about people like, you know, interacting with ChatGPT or lonely, and they think it's like a spirit god and it convinces them to like lose their mind. I mean, look, I know this stuff sounds crazy, but at scale, a lot of humans are crazy. And if you use it in nefarious directions, if even 2 to 3% of people get swayed or into believing this is like a religious figure, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, that's what, millions of the entire US population. So anyways, keep that in mind. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.